All things Aussie hoops and NBL fantasy. Three blokes catching up over a can of three. So many things that we cannot wait to see. Will Josh giddy up as he drives to the cup? Will Luzada play harder for last year's runners-up? Will Magnane's got his sights on the NBA? But will Bryce be an Aussie? He's gonna stay. We love Space Cam double-doubles and 4-point shots from bubbles. The Great Dane and Mitch and Lamar across the ditch. The Hawks signed a bloke named Justinian, and next year we'll love the Tasmanian.
Brace for the puns and dad jokes. It's time for the basketball blokes. And g'day viewers, you're here with Benny from the Basketball Blokes, where we dribble all things Aussie hoops and NBL fantasy most importantly. And as you'll see, pictured next to me are my fellow co-hosts. Just happen to be two of my oldest friends. I haven't known them for that long, but they're just very, very old, and that being Boydie and Banksy, who won't be joining me for the stream tonight, but like I mentioned in the chat, it's all about getting that practice reps in with this streaming. Now, some of you guys may know us from our work doing the Basketball Blokes podcast. Since then, we also have put together the Basketball Blokes website, which is really what we're hoping to be a good resource for your NBL fantasy needs. And what we want to do is try and get this live thing down a bit sorted. It's obviously very hard to catch up, particularly with a condensed schedule this year. And if we can get online, maybe watch a game, stream a game, and give some commentary, as we would basically do whenever we're watching a game of NBL, we constantly on our phones looking up the fantasy stats and chatting fantasy scores and hoping someone gets that double-double that you just need, that extra rebound to get the bonus scoring. So look, hopefully this comes in handy. Now, just some housekeeping before I go to watch a little bit of Southeast Melbourne. Obviously, got Doggo in the back. My wife is wrapping Christmas presents in the next room. Look, if I happen to wake her up, or the kids if I wake the kids up and they find her wrapping presents or find out where Elf on the Shelf is, you will be entertained, no doubt, because I'd have no idea what's going to happen if that eventuates. But so stick around, even if you don't like NBL fantasy, there is a chance that you might see me getting assaulted by my wife with a Christmas present. Who knows? All right, so let's check out this browser here. So I missed a bit of the first quarter setting up here, but we've got on the Twitch stream, we have Southeast Melbourne taking on the Brisbane Bullets, and it looks like the Bullets have had a bit of a streak here. I noticed my Phoenix had a red hot start. Some news about this game. Obviously, I don't know if you haven't heard, but reading up beforehand, we've got Dane Pineau, who I believe has a bit of an undisclosed injury at the moment. I haven't been able to find anything about it, about the Great Dane. We also are missing the imports for Southeast Melbourne, and that's because they are quarantining, in all places, Sydney. So who knows how that's going to work. Hopefully that means that they're not going to be further delayed in getting to train with the guys. Hopefully it's just another positive, or get a negative test when they come across the state with a permit, and they'll be able to get rolling with the Phoenix, as we see Creaky doing what he does best there and finishing. So I know I mentioned Christmas presents and things like that before. I know my beard's growing a bit grey and I'm looking a bit like Santa Claus, but if you didn't know, it was Liam Santa Maria's birthday yesterday. And what did we get for an early Christmas present from Liam Santa Maria, who actually was the highest scoring participant in NBL fantasy 2 seasons ago. NBL fantasy has opened. This is almost unheard of. We have around 24 days to build our NBL fantasy teams, and that's briefly what I'm going to start to talk a little bit about. We are planning a podcast on Sunday, just with our first impressions of what everything looks like. But look, for if you're watching the game tonight and you want to know who are the NBL fantasy relevant players, I would say that all of the Phoenix players are more relevant than the Brisbane players simply because of the schedule to start the season, which I'll bring up later on. But while they're in a timeout, let's go through some of these players. So, Southeast Melbourne and Melbourne United are one of the two teams that have 3 matches in round 1. If you weren't aware, originally the Illawarra Hawks had 3 matches also in the first round, but that Hawks v Cairns match has moved from the round 1 to round 2. Effectively, no change in date. They've just decided to bring the round forward. So it really is both the Melbourne teams that we want to focus on, making Southeast Melbourne obviously valuable fantasy players. Some pricing. We've got Mitch Creek, who comes in at the most expensive at I believe that's 1.87 million. Creaky is going to be very relevant. He is potential caption option. Dane Pinot is going to be interesting. What is the injury? He got the opportunity to start a lot of games with Big Keith Benson. As a Phoenix fan, I'm hoping that Ben Moore will be able to fill a bit more of that starter's role, but he's pretty versatile. So if Dane has improved as much as what reports say coming out of Phoenix camp, that hopefully his production won't be halted too much. It's definitely a viable option with that awesome schedule to start off with. Brisbane players, once again, Nathan Sobey was someone I was down on last year from a fantasy perspective, and he's not someone that I'm looking at starting. Hodgson is always interesting. We know how Brisbane have shared that big man role in previous years at 1.22 million. Someone definitely to keep an eye on, but probably not in your starting teams as a first impression. Drimich at 1.14. I always felt that he, along with most of his teammates from a fantasy and a stats gathering perspective, were really hindered by the rotation that Joey Wright used in Adelaide, and a lot of times, lots of time on the bench, lots of even spread. They really used their rotation and gave everyone sort of seemingly 20 to 30 minutes, capped out about that 30-minute mark. I think Drimmick can be someone who continues to improve his play and his fantasy performance, and definitely one for the watch list. As we move down, Kadee is consistent, yet isn't going to do too much more, you wouldn't think, for that price. You can't imagine a big breakout season at this point from Jason Kadee. Someone who is playable when the Brisbane schedule is favourable. Interesting, you can see that the pricing there with Jason Kadee, he's that $990K. He averaged around about 25 points per game last season. Now, what that means is that as we scroll down the list here, this $1 million players, these $1 million imports that we look at every year, Kiefer Sykes, Ben Moore, Vic Law, these players have traditionally been priced at about an average of 30 fantasy points per game. That number has come down to 25.5. So your next stars priced at $850K, that they come in at that locked price. Your $1 million imports are significantly undervalued this season, even compared to last. So I'll just flick up just as we keep rolling through these players here. Hodgie. Oh, there's someone that we're going to be talking about. Ruben in his revenge game, getting some minutes with some of the outs for the Phoenix. Someone that is going to look very promising, but we'll get to him. So I think Gibbo is pretty well at his price, what you're going to expect. Kind of playable. There's a lot of better options out there to start your team. Glidden is someone like Tarangi who is expecting a significant increase in role. Someone who can obviously knock down, lights out shooter, but can crash the boards as well, and fill that box score up, which is what we want. Kyle Adnam, very much expecting similar productions out of him. Harry Froling is another one that we expected a big bounce back from last season, and at 700k definitely represents value, but once again, we'll wait for that schedule to improve. Kendall Stevens, his game is far too reliant on 3-point or 4-point scoring, as we call it in fantasy, because you get the bonus point for that 3-pointer. Creaky finishes again. Great fast break by the Phoenix. Looks like they're going to play with that fast tempo again, which has been so good for fantasy. Ruben Tarangi. When we were in lockdown in Melbourne months and months ago, we had our Lockdown Locks podcast. Predicted Ruben Tarangi would come in, as he has, at 250,000, which is the bargain basement price for NBL fantasy. Expecting big things from Ruben. We're going to have, obviously, one of the better schedules to start the season, and just putting it out there that nailing these 250,000 bargain basement players is really one of the keys to success in NBL fantasy when you're playing it. Another player that is actually, I believe, the most selected player since fantasy opened is Yanni Wetzel, the Pretzel. Obviously, we know what Dane can do. Ben Moore is traditionally, I guess, he's maybe a bit undersized to play the 5, versatile enough to play it in this league, athletic enough. Yanni's got the height and just a great athlete by all accounts as well. So really looking for Yanni to have some sort of role. I'm going to try and not buy into this hype too much, that this early go without Dane, without Ben Moore is going to give us. You're going to see Yanni play well, but going to try not to be caught out by the fact that his role probably won't stay like that throughout the season, but you can't really lose at that price. Two of the guys that I'm most excited about, Kiefer Sykes and Ben Moore, significantly underpriced at $1 million. Definitely players that you should consider for your lineup now. The Brisbane Imports situation, we've got a player that is, I don't know if many people know this, but he was the arch nemesis of Andrew Bogut. Now, you think that, great, lock him into your team. If you can beat a couple of seasons ago, MVP, the King legend himself, Andrew Bogut, that you're going to be good. But that's just basically because his name's Vic Law, and we know that the bogeyman hasn't been that fond of Vic Law of late. So, in all seriousness, can't wait to see him play. Get some feeling relatively positive about Vic Law and the basketball player as well. Tanner Krebs is someone who's definitely an option, expecting not as a significant role. What do we got here? Let me fix that up. Probably the only other player of relevance in this list, let me fix this up, at $1 million is Orlando Johnson. $1 million, small forward position. Like I said, these imports are so cheap that we can basically stack our team up with them and see how it goes. It's going to be definitely one for the watch list, given the schedule, as we'll discuss later on. But what do we got? 3 minutes left. Just had a quick flick through that. Let's maybe I'll crank these commentators up and we'll see how we go.
Representation in the grand final, so congratulations to the Townsville Fire picking up a big 3-point win over the Melbourne Boomers. Tight battle, Derek. It went down to the final seconds.
And wow, what a performance by Shannon Seabaum. Great cut there by Jason Kadee, but what a performance, a coaching performance, and that team has really rallied around I didn't really have them finishing in the top 4 in my predictions, but for them to be in a grand final is an amazing achievement for that franchise.
Great hands there by Kadeen. Again, congratulations. Wow. As Kadeen, that was a deep one. Hodgson hits the deck hard. Looks like that foul's going to go on Mackay.
I want to go touch that ball just because. Anyway, yo, my man, Jeremy Mackay.
Jeremy with a G, mind you.
He's ready to get into it. He looks like he's ready to get into it. And he was responsible then for Matt Hodgson hitting the floor quite hard. Let's see how this materializes over the next couple of minutes.
He's playing a physical game. He's picked up a few fouls in his minutes.
All right, looks like we've got a timeout here. Let's have a look at the schedule, which is something I wanted to talk about before. All right, let's see if we can load this up. All right. The schedule for round 1, basketballblokes.com. You can go straight, hit the button up the top, schedule. As you can see, Brisbane, only 1 game to start the season. We can't be having too many Brisbane players in our team, unfortunately. Southeast Melbourne Phoenix, that is where it's at, though. This is something that we've never had before. We've got the triple game. We've always looked for players on the double, but we've got the triple now. That's why you've got to be looking nice and close at your Southeast Melbourne Phoenix players while you're watching these preseason games. So let me flick back and we'll see how we go.
Rucker basketball is actually going to benefit from that. He's probably going to get extended minutes up in Cairns. Mojave King. A 3 import situation may have squeezed any potential minutes for him, but now with only 2 imports, it opens up playing time.
What do you think of Mojave? Obviously, you work pretty closely with him, but he's going to have a lot of eyes on him up in Cairns and really across the country and across the world. He's an NBA prospect.
Yeah, and I have a saying, John. I may be biased, but it doesn't mean I'm wrong. And I think Mo has the character. He has the physical attributes. He has the athleticism. We're developing his skills to a really good level. And I think he's going to be I'm getting a legal screen there. That's just too obvious. I think Mo is going to be in a really good position this season with the Taipans. That's his first objective, is to play well up there. And then after that, I think he is, I know for a fact that he's drawn the attention of numerous NBA clubs. So, his future is bright.
And Bullets fans will get a really good look at him as Jones hands off for Sobey to lay it in. But that first Brisbane home game is going to be the Blockbuster versus Cairns. If you haven't gotten your tickets yet, visit the Brisbane Bullets website. You can pick up a ticket for the preseason game down here on Sunday at midday. You can also get your Brisbane Bullets season tickets on the Brisbane Bullets website, so make sure you check that out.
I hear you, John. You're doing a good job of pumping them bullets up. You got a commission.
Never realised Kendall Stevens was so strong with that shove off. It's been Balkan. That was the report from pre-season. That forearm, goodness me.
Don't I get something for like that team that they named me in?
I mean,
okay.
You're one of the ultimate 5 Brisbane Bullets of all time. I thought it'd be an open door policy, in my opinion. I hope so.
I'm not sure everyone shares your opinion, John, but yeah, thank you.
I voice it for sure. Got about 2 minutes to go in the first half. It's a Bullets lead of 3 as Sobey works against Tarangi. I like this lineup, though. They went big early, but they're going with that 3-guard lineup, and Kadee draws the foul. Kadee, man, he's just so smart with the ball in his hands, but he doesn't need the ball in his hands. And you see, even if he's not controlling the game, he's telling his teammates where they need to be and where they need to be looking.
Now, I've known Jason since he was 8 years old, I believe, and I played at West Sydney, and his dad was general manager, so Jason was always at practice. Just a great kid, loved basketball, and to see him now as a grown man in this state is amazing. He's got a young family, and he's just doing really well. Now, the one thing that really, I think sometimes he gets a little bit passive and kind of takes himself out of the game and probably undervalues his importance to the team and what he does. He's one of the few guards in the league that has a skill set and a package that he has, and he needs to exploit that more often and be more assertive on a regular basis.
Do you like him in the Bullets roster when we're looking at the complete Bullets roster? You like him in the starting five or coming off the bench?
I like him in
Yanni.
the starting five. I like him in more pick and roll. I like him dominating the ball a bit more and an increased usage rate. And I think that would make a lot of other players.
Ruben. Couldn't
better
help
on
dig the
team.
elbow into his
That's a
ex-teammate.
crazy call there. That used to drive me crazy as a guard. When you come off the screen and the big moves, it's like, yo, my man, all I need is a little bit of an edge and I can make a play here. You don't need to knock the guy over.
And Kadee did a good job drawing that foul as well.
Yeah.
He's not known for his defensive abilities, but he's a smart defender, that's for sure.
I like this play. Punch it.
Selby. Finger roll.
It's almost a little bit of a blind pig action there where they suck the guard's defender up and then they get a high post flash and a backdoor cut.
Good hands defensively there from Froling. Kadee lost it but recovers. Froling picks up his dribble. Now Selby, 9 on the shot clock. Goes away from the screen, gets inside, up and under, finishes, plus the foul.
And that's why I like him playing off the ball. You move the ball. Jason penetrated, tried to make a play. It didn't quite work out. Froling had a little play. It didn't work out. Now the third wave is one of the most athletic players in the competition. That's Nathan Sobey. He gets a guy in a mini closeout situation, and it's a wrap. He's on the rim. He's elevating, and no one can go up like Sobey can.
He's really evolved his game. I remember watching him when he first came back over from college, and it was pure athleticism from Sobey. But he can handle the ball. He can shoot the ball. He can do a bit of everything. But I'm with you. I think I still don't see him as a true point guard.
I think you lose too many possessions per game because he's just not that true point guard, and sometimes the requirements of the job escape him.
Here's Adnam.
Tough shot.
Nice footwork there from the point guard. 7-point Bullets lead, under a minute left in the first half.
Sobey wants to cook.
He's cooking on the baseline, shakes free and lays it in.
That's what I'm saying, you know, let him work off of the ball, then you get it to him. And now he's feeling it. I'm going to him again. Hopefully the Phoenix take a quick shot here, and the Bulls can go 2 for 1. Probably a little bit too late now.
Wetzel hook shot, banks it in.
He can't be stopped.
He's got some moves. Bullets are going to hold. They're going to try and work some shot clock here. It's about a 4-second difference.
Uh-oh.
Adnam. It's a Phoenix are in the penalty, so Kadee's going to go to the free throw line for a couple.
Gotta love that from Kyle as a Phoenix fan. Preseason game. Still not happy with the call. Love that passion.
The score sheet, Kadee has 12 already. He and Sobey, the two Bullets players in double figures. Sobey leads the Bullets with 13. Wetzel, though, leading all scorers with 14. Kyle Adams got 13, and I'm sorry, I missed the scoreboard. It's Creek with 15 leading all scorers.
Quick bet here. Kadee for 2. If he misses 1, I'll buy you dinner. Bad luck. We're 1 for 1 here.
I'm going hungry tonight.
Come on, Kadee. Knock this down. I'll buy you dinner if he misses this one.
I might go hungry, I think. Oh. Where are we going? We're going. I can't even say we're going Sizzler because they're bankrupt now. We're going somewhere.
Yeah, we're going somewhere to get something to eat.
Wetzel goes to the right hand again, lays it in. Can Brisbane get a shot off 3-2? Sobey fires. He floats one just short. That's going to do it for the first half here on the Gold Coast.
My goodness, Yanni Wetzel. All right. So I'll try not to buy into the hype at that 250k, but you got nothing to lose at the moment. Guy can play. The hype is real. Don't get it twisted around the pretzel. Look out. All right. Couple of things that I wanted to go through as well, just to show you guys. Having checked out a little bit of basketball action, I understand it might be lagging, but let's just... We've had a look at the schedule. Just going to show you around basketballblokes.com quickly for some information. All right. Okay. Website loading up, and we obviously had Perth and the Hawks play. And we have, what have we done here? I believe at basketballblokes.com you can locate the fantasy points from those games. Some early takeaways is, so Dengadal is another one of those $1 million imports. He's so cheap, yet he's injured. Is he going to be the Didi Lazada decision from last year? Will we know if he's going to participate in one or they've only got 2 games now in round 1. He would be an absolute lock if he was playing, but alas, he is not. Quick takeaways. John Mooney, 39 points, 68 points from a fantasy perspective. With the double-double bonus in that second game, he's going to be someone that we are definitely going to have to know who is John Mooney. And if you're tuning into the podcast, Banksy might fill you in a bit more because that has been his pet project. Justin Simon went from -1 to what do you have? End up with 8 steals and a 65-point fantasy performance now. Few ball handling errors in that first game. Just got those long limbs, active hands. We love defensive stats. Those 8 steals, 4 points apiece. That's how you can really get your score up. But I don't know that he does enough scoring, assisting, rebounding. I kind of liked the way Jessup looked in as far as how he was evolved, hitting the boards, and they ran the play through him a little bit. Harvey could just be that straight up shooter only, that Chris Goulding type, that on most occasions will just score the basket, which doesn't actually equate to fantasy points in the way that it really should as far as their influence on the game goes. So if you want to check those out, basketballblokes.com. Anything else? There's something else I wanted to show you guys as well. So what we are doing is a Patreon package. We had another person sign up today to our $5 tier. Thank you very much. So what we're going to include in our Patreon package is a stubby holder. There's a $5, I'm just looking at it right now, right in front of me, $5 tier, and for the Patreon preseason package. Now, that will include stubby holder, here's the concept, and as well as a cheat sheet. Now, we expect the cheat sheet to be, I guess, a bit of a one-pager, almost like in the style of a last-minute, how do I get my team together type deal. And if you sign up for our Patreon, you continue to be a Patreon member throughout the year. We're going to make sure that we send a lot more of the advanced stats as well, just via email as we go through. Something I wanted to do was to look at the position groupings. So what team, we always know what teams are good, give up in total the greatest amount of fantasy points, but what positions groups score well against it. So try to go to that next level in our fantasy, I guess, in our research. All right, so that should probably do it. I'm going to leave the screen with all our socials. Make sure you give them a follow. And thanks very much. Hopefully this hasn't lagged too bad. I'll soon find out. Cheers.